and welcome to Reinvent and Rise, the show that is put together, dedicated to the woman 45 plus who's determined to do whatever it is that needs to be done to elevate to the life that she personally desires, both again, personally and professionally. This month are a couple of awareness things that we take into account, and one is Financial Awareness Month. So, what better month to have the guests that we have with us today? Joining us is Kevette Minor Kane, and she is a financial liberation expert, an ambassador for self worth and gratitude, and a proponent for women's empowerment. She guides women on their journey to self sufficiency by educating them to take back their financial power and supporting them in gaining the confidence to fulfill their purpose in life. As CEO and founder of Marimore Life, LLC, her mission is to elevate women worldwide to a greater quality of life. As an educator, a public speaker, and an author, she shares her message of financial liberation through a transformational process which incorporates emotional, mental well being with improved financial habits for continued success. Please join me in welcoming Kevette Minor Kane. Hey, Kevette.
Hello. It's so awesome to be here with you today.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. Absolutely wonderful. And I was just saying as I introduced the show, what better month to have a financial expert with us, other than, during Financial Awareness Month, what better month to do this? So I'm really happy to have you here. And as you know, my show is dedicated, to the woman who maybe approaching empty nest by now, maybe thinking
Mhm.
retirement. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. But, I introduced you, I told them about your company and what you do. I want you to go ahead and give us your own personal introduction. Anything I leave out of there that you want everybody knows about you?
Just a little bit. Sometimes I like to tell people exactly how I serve.
Yeah.
So I guide my clients on their journey to self-sufficiency by teaching them about how our emotions affect our money management so that they're able to make better decisions and create better habits and experience a greater quality of life. And then I serve my clients through financial planning, business strategy, and mindset coaching.
Awesome. Wow. So you take emotions into account when talking finance.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's one of the most overlooked things in our industry is the emotional attachment or the emotional connection. And I've seen that in just the last couple of years, since I've started talking about this, I've heard others begin to speak about it more and become more conscious of the correlation between our emotions and our financial decisions.
Mm.
And I think that's absolutely fabulous. We need to make sure that, this message gets out even more and more because as people become more conscious, then they're able to manage themselves better, either coping with their emotions and then also making better financial management decisions as well.
That's great. That's awesome. And as women, traditionally it was thought at one point, and again, traditionally, men make the decisions on the money and we don't really know a whole lot about it. But as well as I do, that has totally changed, over the years. That is definitely archaic. And I feel that it is so important. I mean, for anybody who handles money, period, a female, male, no matter whom, but particularly for women that I say are in this age group who are really making some serious decisions about their money now. I like to call the latter the better part, the best part of life, that after 45 piece. So I really want women to understand that, they don't need to be trapped by their thoughts of money and, by any insecurities they may have about actually being able to invest and to spend, and to put away as they need to do for retirement. And to finally, now that we're probably at the point where we're talking retirement, at least from For some of us, it may be from one thing and into another, perhaps going into something else. So tell me a little about what you would tell a woman 45 plus who, is ready to really, focus heavily on what they need to do with their finances.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned a couple of things there. At this stage of life, we are transitioning. Now we go through many transitions
Yes.
from youth to adulthood. Whether we're getting married or having children, changing our careers, getting divorced, losing loved ones in death, unfortunately. It's a transition for us. And these are all processes that we need to be conscious of on a financial level, because each and every one of those transitions affect us financially. And because of our emotions being affected by those transitions, our decisions where our finances are concerned will be affected as well. So we want to make sure that we're being clear and objective. One of the things that drives me in this industry is that the statistic that says that only 25% of women actually use a financial advisor.
Wow.
Yeah, 25%. So that means there's 75% of us who are choosing not to get good advice so that we're able to grow our money and to protect it for the future. And that's concerning, because then, okay, so who's going to care for us?
Yes.
And that often ends up being, unfortunately, either the government or family members. And then many women end up being uncared for or undercared for, because the consideration was not given early on enough for them to put something away in order to have that retirement. And I love that you spoke about it that way, because it is a transition. Retirement is different now than it was years ago. I mean, I remember as a kid thinking about my grandmother retiring, and I'm like, okay, she goes sit on the rocking chair in the porch.
Right.
that was the goal in life,
Right. Yeah.
But the goal at this point has shifted, because there's many more opportunities for us, and people realize that when you work for the majority of your life up to this point, and you realize that you did good work, maybe it wasn't your dream, and a lot of people don't really like the work that they did, but they did it because it helped them to make the ends meet, and they had a financial goal, and they were able to get a retirement income based on the work that they did. Right. So then the shift comes in when you're thinking about, okay, so now what do I want to do? And so that's where retirement has shifted to now. It's about being able to have a stable income so that you're able to make that shift or that transition to do what you want to do with your life from this point. So that may be shifting to a new career. Yeah. We've got more women over 40 going back to school, getting, higher education degrees, their masters and their doctorates, because now they can spend the time focusing in on what they love. They've got the maturity, they've had the experience in life, and they've put themselves in a financial position to be able to manage that well. And sometimes the finances aren't always there, but we're smarter about being able to find them. And even if there's a shortage, we're smarter about being able to manage it. So we make those transitions, and it ends up being in our best interest and for our benefit. And, sometimes folks want to start a new business. Maybe there's a dream that they had that, otherwise would have seemed ridiculous, or not very lucrative. And so now, because they've got that stable retirement income to lean on, they can now feed into their dreams, and so they're able to find a way to make that grow and to really enjoy life. And that's what it's about. I think that at this point in time, people over the last couple of years have started to recognize that at younger ages. But for many of us, I'm here because I want people to know that at 45 and above, there is still an opportunity for us to make this shift and be successful at it,
Absolutely. Oh, that's wonderful. So say that, okay, so there may be people out there who are, some may have already planned retirement as early as this year. But say you're in the last 5 years of working. What are some things that you really need to have in place before you finally, hang up your hat maybe on one career and start another? or, start that semi rocking chair place where you rock a little and you do a little too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you want to be able to recognize where you are in life right now.
Hmm.
Having a clear plan is absolutely essential.
Hmm.
That's something that we can't go without. And I'm reminded, every year on your birthday, we go and hopefully have a physical checkup.
Yes.
We have go to the doctor and just have them run the regular tests and say, okay, make sure my heart's working well, my brain is working well, my
Yes.
reflexes are working well, and if there's any challenges, then we address it at that time so that we're able to preserve what we have or to regain our health and be able to enjoy our life. It's about quality of life.
Hmm.
Our quantity of life has increased over the decades. We've seen that the life expectancy for U.S. Residents has just increased phenomenally. And so even with I'm a licensed life and health insurance agent. So looking at those policies with the companies back in 2019, they shifted to the new life expectancy table, which took their policy premiums from 100 years of payments to 120 years of payments.
Wow.
Right. So that's the life expectancy. My babysitter from when I was a kid passed away in 2020, but she didn't die from COVID. She died from natural causes at 107 years old.
Wow.
Right. So understanding those numbers, that's real to me because I'm like, I know somebody that lived to be
Exactly.
over, and thankfully, she was cared for by her kids. They, all came together and provided financially for her. She was still able to move around her home, and to, she moved, of course, her bedroom to the first floor so she didn't have to go up and down the steps, but she was still mobile during that time. And, it's just, we all have an expiration date. The question is, what are we going to do before that time? And what are we going to pass on to our family once we're gone? So that we can give them a stable foundation to continue building on, because that's where the challenge comes in most often. But it's in taking into consideration the amount of time that we have and being able to use that time wisely. Time is money. And some people hate hearing that. And I'm like, it's only because they don't understand it. Time is a commodity, and what you do with your time determines how you spend your money.
Absolutely.
So where you spend your time, how you spend your time, that's where your money is going. The activities that you do, if you're working, then that means you're spending your time earning income. And so that money is going to be coming in. If you're out shopping, then that means you're spending money, and it's, growing wings and flying away.
Right.
But we want to be smart enough to understand what the options are so that we can protect our money and to make it work for us so that it grows. It's called living in our best interest. And people here have heard that term, living on the interest, but they don't really take an opportunity, or it hasn't been explained to them to really understand, well, how do you do that? And so that's what I do with my clients. I go through that process. So every year, like they have their physical, I recommend they have a financial examination, that they come and get a full financial review and evaluation of their, financial perspective. We go over the basic checklist, those main 5 areas of finance, to make sure that your foundation is stable and that you're building well. And if there's anything that needs to be adjusted, then we can refer you out to a specialist.
Yeah.
So, there are questions that people have, there are concerns, there are goals, and we want to make sure that they're conscious of those goals so that they can work towards them and see their own progress. So in that light, I have created a community on my website where folks can go and join for free, and they're able to get access to some basic documents which help them to start that process. It's not as complicated as many people think. Now, the reason that there's only 25% of women who actually use a financial advisor is because oftentimes these women believe that they can't afford it. But it's really about putting into perspective what is affordable. It's only expensive, or it's only unaffordable if you don't have the money. The thing is, if you're able to put the money together and to focus in on, paying for this service that is going to help you to grow your finances, it's an investment into yourself, then you can afford it. It is something that's absolutely worth it, and you are absolutely worth it. And so that's why I encourage people to just, have an opportunity to sit down and talk with a financial advisor. So oftentimes, you know, the consultation fee is scary. What you're paying for with your consultation fee is the years of knowledge that this person has and the experience that they have cultivated in order to be able to summarize for you in a short period of time without you having to go and do all the research and give you the list of options that are available so that you can then choose the best one for yourself.
Yes.
You know, and that's the key right there. We are able to eliminate the stress and the frustration because the answers to the questions that you don't know to ask, we're providing them for you. You know, and that guidance is absolutely essential. You know, so I offer a free 15-minute consultation for anyone who joins my community. And that's because I just want to encourage people getting more knowledge. Education is power. You know, knowledge is power. And being able to understand your options and then choose what's best for you, because it's going to be different for everybody based on your history, your circumstances, your perspective, and your goals. You know, all of that is going to be different. And so being able to understand how to measure that out is absolutely key. And so I hope to provide that for as many people as possible.
What you just said so much, Kevette, that was so worthy of repeating, you know. So I'm glad anyone watching this, definitely before she leaves, we are going to make sure that you have the information needed to reach out to her, to get in touch with her, to set up your consultation. I mean, she has just told you, you know, you are worth the investment. Trust me, you are so worth the investment of having your finances straight and understanding, you know, what's needed to make sure that at this point in life, you're set, you know, in the years to come, you're set. And, you know, just to be able to see what's needed to perhaps go after that dream. We talk about that a lot on here, you know, being 45 and above and going after that dream that you may have been putting off forever and a day. You know, get in touch with somebody like Kevette so that you will know what it is that you need to do in order to move into that space that you want to move into. You said something that actually has been repeating in my head just since you said it, and it was living off the interest. I love that.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little more on that, because that is something that I honestly have just recently learned, you know, in the past few years or so, the importance of being able to do that and not digging into the main pot, so to speak.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
say a little more about that.
Yeah, well, that's where you grow your wealth. You know, you've got a foundation of your principal, is what we call it, your principal funding. And based on that principal, where you put your money and how you invest it, you're able to grow on interest. And that will determine how much you have in living on the interest, but determining how much you want to live on. So I'm very keen on the numbers. I love these little calculations, breaking them down. So when there's people who hate to do, you know, numbers and I don't like those calculations, bring it to me because I love it. And I just enjoy it really. So it's about understanding what are your numbers. What is your net worth? What is your life number? What is your retirement number? What is your the interest number there? You know, where we're talking about wealth, that's your wealth number, being able to live off the interest. And so being able to understand what products and services are available so that you're able to take advantage of them to promote, you know, the amount of interest that you need in order to meet your bottom line. And that's creating what those numbers are. So to give you an idea, I mentioned that, you know, oftentimes people feel like they can't afford a financial advisor. If you're making $40,000 a year, you should be spending about $200 every year on a financial advisor minimum. Minimum. And I have programs under my umbrella and services, plans actually, that will allow you throughout the year to get services and to have a one-on-one session, which a lot of times people miss out on. People will invest in, you know, smaller financial programs, but they don't get to talk to anybody. You know, there's, you know, you've got this great program here. I put this together. You buy the course, you do it, and then you're like, okay, so now what?
Exactly.
And that builds up more anxiety because you don't have the guidance and the support that you need. So the three principles that I've built More and More Life mindset and money management on are education, guidance, and support. Because first you need to learn. You have to know that knowledge is power. But then you need to have someone who's going to guide you through that process. As you become more confident and you start to walk on your own, you're taking the necessary steps to move in the right direction. You still will have questions. You'll run into, as you learn more, there's going to be more that you realize you don't know. Because you don't know what you don't know until you learn,
Always learning.
Yeah, you have to always be learning,
Yes.
And so when you get to that point, then you need to be able to have a reference to say, you know what, I am confident because I have a financial advisor that I can always go to. And if I have a question here or there, I'm not afraid to go back and have that conversation with them because I know that they have already educated me. They've given me the guidance and they're willing to give me the support. And so that's what More and More Life mindset and money management does. I am currently recruiting a team of financial advisors from all areas, and being able to do that is going to allow us to give folks the access that they need to having, those, what I was talking about, referrals, specialists in real estate investment and those who do investment management, those who are life insurance agents and who are bankers, who can give you ideas about, capital funding and understanding your cash flow. We go through all of those processes, credit repair. There are specialists in the financial services industry, and you need to understand who those specialists are. I'm a general practitioner. So I come in with your financial planning, I do your business planning, we get the strategies together. And then when we see that there's a need in a special area, then I will refer you out to those specialists. If you need some credit repair or you need to, get your credit profile to be healthy again, then that's where you're going to go. You're going to go to my credit repair specialist, and that person is going to show you what steps you need to take in order to improve your numbers, in order to make sure that you've got the habits in place that are going to support your credibility. So that then you can continue to grow, because credit is so significant for your qualifying for some of the products that will allow you to live on the interest. Okay. And so when we talk about, the financial planning piece, being able to know those numbers, again, your net worth number, your life number. So what is your life number? Your life number is the amount of life insurance that you can qualify for. Okay. And most people don't even think about that. Oftentimes in our community, people don't want to think about it because it's like, oh, you're putting a value on my life. And it's like, no, we're not putting a value on your life, but your life is valuable.
Yes.
And if you're not here, then there are people who are going to suffer financially because of your missing contribution. And so we want to make sure that is covered. That's what life insurance is about. It's about the living. It's not about the death benefit.
Right.
It's the living. And there's so many living benefits to life insurance, really understanding cash value. And that's where you're able to understand that living on the interest. What is in your best interest? So understanding your retirement number and your goal. So for a woman of 45 who plans to work for 20 years and retire at 65, then that means the estimate is that she's going to have 55 years of life left if she's going to live to 120. Now, we don't, we may expire before then, I don't know anyone who's lived to be 120 years old. I told you my babysitter died at 107. But the thing is, if we plan for that, then what we're planning for is not just our lifetime and our lifestyle, but we're also planning for a legacy.
Yes.
That's where we want to be able to leave something behind so that we're giving our family a foundation. I spoke with a woman yesterday who said, I'm not trying to make anybody wealthy off my death. And that's the attitude that many of us have taken on. But that's a very poor way of thinking.
Yes.
A very poor way of thinking, because what you're doing now is saying that I'm not going to benefit you from what I've done in my life. I'm going to take all of that with me and leave you with a burden. But why would you? It's when my father passed away, I was so grateful for what he had done. And I was so determined to make sure that his legacy was honored.
Yes.
Because I respected him. because I was able to have insight on things that I had not had insight on, prior to his death.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to really see what he was working to build. There were things that he worked hard for, and I didn't want that work to have been for nothing.
Right.
When we say that we don't want anybody to be, wealthy off of our death, we're saying that I don't want my life to have meant something to anybody.
Mm.
Because that's what we're doing. Every day we're working hard. What are you working for? If you're not working to leave something behind, to give your descendants an opportunity to get a hand up so that they're able to raise their levels, at least to be on solid ground. What a lot of times people don't realize is the expenses that are incurred upon death.
Oh,
By
yeah.
the person who died. Like, yeah, you still got to pay taxes.
Exactly. People don't see that. You're right. Yeah.
Right. And so people who are not leaving anything behind for their families to be able to care for that, they're leaving a burden. Instead of a legacy of wealth, you're leaving a legacy of debt.
Yes.
And that is where people continue to struggle. That is where our community has continued to struggle. And why some statistics say that the Black community is going to be dead broke by 2053. But see, becoming conscious of it means that we have an opportunity to shift our thinking and to change that narrative.
Yes.
We can decide to do something different, make better decisions, and then create the quality of life that we truly want to have, that we desire and deserve. You deserve better. How amazing would your life be right now if your relatives had left you a legacy as a foundation to build on, as opposed to you having to go digging in the dirt to create a foundation for yourself?
Yes.
That's a lot of work. It's a lot easier if there's a foundation and you just, even if you got to knock down the house and start over again.
Mm-hmm. Great analogy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than going and you got to now dig in the dirt, get out the rocks, level it out.
Yes.
Get the concrete.
Get the foundation straight.
Lay the rebar. I've done construction work, so I know it's like all of those pieces have to go together, and it's a lot of work to do that, and it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so our time costs us. And that is a time saver if someone leaves you a legacy of wealth. So think about that for your descendants. Make sure that you're leaving a legacy of wealth to give them a level ground to stand on and to grow from. And I come from this perspective. You're not making somebody wealthy because have you seen the inflation rates?
Yeah, you're not making them wealthy.
What you're doing is making them level ground.
I was going to say,
leaving that legacy behind. Girl.
Yes.
And we need that level ground. It's almost like the level of water is here and you're treading
constantly.
Yeah. But if you can stand up on it, if you got a boat, or even if you got a surfboard.
Yes.
You got something to help you to stay above water. And that's what we want to continue to do. That wealth is what helps us to stay above water. It helps us to have that solid foundation and to build a strong structure for generations to come. So this is about creating generational wealth. This is about transforming our minds to transform our money so that we can thrive.
Yeah, I love that. Knowledge is power. You said that a few minutes ago too. And if you don't know to do better, you're not going to do better.
Yeah.
We hear that all the time, but it is so true. And the whole piece about leaving a legacy. I mean, how unfair is it of you to think that way when you're leaving behind responsibilities that still need to be taken care of?
Yeah.
How unfair of you to think that, you don't want to focus on this. That's not important. Let them take care of themselves when I'm gone. I've heard that too. But, I came up in a household where I came up in a family where legacy was incredibly important.
That's awesome.
From my great grandmother was 103 when she passed away.
Wow.
And, and I think about how, for them, they didn't have a whole lot, but their legacy was, we're going to leave you this land. They were always focused on making sure that they left some kind of legacy to make you whole. You
A
know what I mean?
foundation. Mhm.
Yes, that foundation that you were
Mhm.
just talking about.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
absolutely,
That this
absolutely.
has been woo. This has been powerful. I
It's
am so happy we're doing this.
absolutely. One of the things I want to make sure that the women in this audience, those who are 45 plus, that they really understand. And I'm speaking to the woman right now who's struggling,
Mm,
the one who has had a devastating, traumatic experience, and she's financially just, underbroke,
mm,
because I was there,
mm-hmm.
and to give her hope, to let her know that you can rebuild from absolutely nothing. You can create your own foundation, and it doesn't take a long time to do it.
Yeah.
For me personally, I will tell you, it took me 2 years to reestablish myself from
Mm,
absolutely nothing. I had no bank account. I had no home. I had no transportation. I had no job. All of those things were up in the air for me. And it was, okay, how am I going to first make ends meet?
yes.
And then how am I going to be able to build once I start to get those fundamental things together? And that's what I talk about in my book, Transform Your Mind and Transform Your Money to Thrive, is I help people to understand, what are the 5 areas of mindset awareness that we need to take into consideration, that we need to be conscious of, so that
Mm,
we can make good decisions. And then how do we create good financial habits? By putting into place these 5 money strategies that are going to support us in growing forward, changing the narrative for ourselves. I didn't have any retirement. I have a retirement account now.
yes.
I have now an investment account for myself. I invest in digital currency.
Mm,
I see the
mm-hmm.
value in shifting with the industry and growing to understand.
Yes.
It's about understanding, how do you do that? Not just what to do, but how do you do that? You only get the how when you speak with a financial advisor one on one, and they're able to give you advice based on your personal circumstances. Your
Mm-hmm.
financial plan is like your fingerprints,
Mm,
and they're different from anybody else's
yeah.
because of the decisions you've made in the past, your history, your current situation and circumstances, your emotional perspective, because that gives you the foundation of the direction that you're going in. What goals do you have for the future? Based on your family structure, do you have children that you're trying to provide for? I spoke
Mm-hmm.
with a woman the other day who is a real estate investor, and I'm so motivated and encouraged by her myself, because she has established a foundation in her business where she's got these properties that her children are going to be able to benefit from. If anything ever happens to her, she's got a legacy built up for them. They've
Yeah.
got 10 properties each,
Yes.
2 separate companies, but she's established this structure and this foundation for them. And she's
Mm-hmm.
teaching them, educating them, and guiding them through the process so that they will have that passive income. And even if it's not passive, it's income you got to work for, but it's a consistent income.
Yes.
It's something that you can continue to grow. It's working smart. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we get to work smart and
Mm-hmm.
stop working so hard. When we're working hard, we're really taking a toll on our bodies, on our minds, on our ability to thrive. But when we're working smart, then we're actually contributing to our ability to thrive because we're putting into use the tools that are necessary. Let the tools do the work.
Yeah.
Let the systems work for you. One thing I was told, construction work again, and I love it. I always look at, creating your finances, your financial planning as building a financial house.
Yes.
And I was told early on by one contractor, in using the tools, let the tool do the work. Cause I was working hard. I was swinging that hammer, girl. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know, have a tendency to do that.
raise your arm swinging it like that.
Right, right.
When you let the tool do the work, it's less stressful. It's less strenuous on you. And so understanding what those tools are and then putting them to work is absolutely essential. So that's what I do at More and More Life. On my website, I've got some tools, some resources, some rewards. So whoever joins the community there will have access to all of that information, as well as the one-on-one consulting, because my team is coming together so that we're able to provide that for each and every person who desires to have that one-on-one touch. And everybody needs it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of like the difference between, going on Google and looking up your symptoms and trying to diagnose yourself, and
Exactly.
which, medications or which remedies are going to work best, as opposed to actually going and talking to somebody, whether that is a medical doctor. First and foremost, you need to make sure you're going to them so that you can understand the options. And then you can look at maybe some naturopathic doctors, some herbalists, some other different things that will contribute to your overall health and wholeness. The same thing applies with your finances. There are so many options. Just become familiar with them so that you can make the best decisions for yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Now I've just put up your information.
Thank you.
Now you're also on social media. How
Yes.
can we find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on social media at I am Kevette. That's I-A-M, and the spelling of my first name, K-E-V as in Victor, E-T-T-E. And I'm going to tell you something cute about that.
Okay.
Kevette is my name because my mom was being creative. No, her name is not Yvette, but my dad was Kevin. His favorite car is a Corvette.
Oh, cute. I love that.
So I would tell people all the time, I says, if you call me Corvette, I'll answer.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that is creative.
Yeah, but you can find me online at I am Kevette. You can also find me at Mari More Life through the company. I share education tips. I celebrate every day. So you'll see a lot of posts of, what is the awareness that we need to have for that day or that month or that week, and sharing that information, because consciousness is the first step to healing.
Yes.
And we are all on a healing journey. It's about recognizing where we are on our journey and identifying the next best step. And that's what I support my clients in being able to do. Identify what is that next best step for you, based on where you are and where you want to go.
That's powerful. You've given us so many things to think about and really have laid out an excellent roadmap, excuse me, for us to follow to get to the point where our finances are set in the way that they need to be set. Absolutely. Now, if you're like me, I'm talking to my audience out there. If you're like me, you need some support in getting that straight. I highly, highly recommend. I mean, you see what she has told you already. Get in touch with her. She's told you she's got programs. I know that you have a book that's out or coming up.
It's coming out. It's not published yet. It's coming out. My birthday is April 27th. So I'm looking forward to my launch on my birthday. Yes. I have a workshop actually before my birthday on the 23rd that is the name workshop for that book, which is Time to Thrive, Transform Your Mind and Transform Your Money to Thrive. And then I also am going to be hosting a birthday celebration this year. I kind of thought about, what do I want to do for my birthday to really celebrate my life, because I'm so grateful for all the many blessings that I have received. Yes. And so I've decided to give some money away to 3 nonprofit organizations for my birthday. Mm-hmm. Everybody I tell, they're like, you giving money away for your birthday? Yes. And I'm asking you to give money away for my birthday too.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the website, look up the golf drive. It's the Mari More Life Time to Thrive Golf Drive. This is an annual event that I am starting up this year. It's the first year, and looking forward to hosting for many years to come. But there are 3 nonprofit organizations that I'm connected to. I provide financial education to their communities. And for one, I actually serve as their financial education and coordinator. And so being able to support their programming and to make sure that they're getting what they need, there's funding that needs to be had. There's projects that need to be moved forward. And oftentimes summertime is the lowest time of the year for nonprofits because, folks are taking their money, going on vacation.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So I said, well, before we get to that point, y'all want to celebrate my birthday with me this year, then let's give to these organizations. They've got some amazing initiatives that are moving forward. There's one where I will actually be working with them. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it or not. Donations will determine this, but to go to California because they're making a connection with the classrooms and the children, giving them the motivation and the encouragement towards STEM technology, science, technology, engineering, and math is so absolutely critical. Did you know that there are 2.4 million 2.4 million STEM jobs that go unfilled, that
Wow.
went unfilled last year. Now, in 2018, that number was 1.8 million. And so it's grown over the last few years. Yeah. And I think the challenge is that our kids are not necessarily being introduced to the options that they have where STEM is concerned. And so this organization creates what they call innovation labs. Where they're able to put machinery into these labs, bring the technology into these labs, and to demonstrate to these children what opportunities are available to them through science, technology, engineering, and math. Some of them are very gifted in these areas, but because of where they live, low income urban areas, they get overlooked, And so this organization is called Bridging the Gap Youth Program. Is consistently working to bridge the gap where that's concerned, to make sure that these kids get the exposure necessary to encourage them, to educate them, to empower them to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of us. That's the most, I think, frustrating and challenging thing for a person, is when they're looking for opportunities, but they can't see them because they're not prepared properly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Know, and so to feel like you're in a position that's so stuck, but you're not. And so there are organizations. There's also the McAllister organization, or the McAllister Foundation here in Maryland, where they do gun safety, education, and training. So they're stopping the violence. Unfortunately, Ayanna McAllister died a few years ago from a gunshot. Gunshot, stray bullet. And so, her parents formed this wonderful foundation. Every year they have their own events, but they are near and dear to me because when I first came back into the industry, they offered an opportunity for me to introduce my financial education through their organization. Awesome. And I'm just so grateful to them. I wanted to find a way to give back. And so I'm grateful to be able to do this for my birthday this year. And then, of course, there's the final organization, Mama's Safe Haven, is in DC, and they work with women in transition, either through domestic violence or coming back to life from prison. And it's so essential because oftentimes these women get so overlooked, especially the mothers. It is difficult for them to transition and to care for their kids in the process and not to have the support that they need. And so I am so grateful to be able to provide the financial education for them and the encouragement and the guidance that they need so that they're able to make better decisions, not only for themselves, but also to build up that confidence within their children, because they're the next generation. That's the legacy that we want to really establish where wealth is concerned. And so I'm grateful to be able to do that. Y'all go to the website, check out the Golf Drive page. You can become a donor, a sponsor, a player, or a spectator. And I would
now give me the website again, and I'll put that up here as well.
Got it. It's MariMoreLife.com.
Okay, so your website, gotcha.
And they'll be able to go. They can. There's on that homepage there is a promotion for the golf drive. Just go there, and there's a special page for the golf drive, which has all the options available to you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will always be available.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I hate to end this. This has been a jewel for you all. Am I right? I mean, you must agree with me. This has been a real jewel. Kevette, I cannot thank you enough for coming in here today and just pouring your wealth of knowledge into us. We got finance. We got everything that we need today to make up our minds, if we haven't already, to change how we're doing our finances. We have been given a resource. And Kevette has already told you she is willing, ready, and able to hold your hand through this process. So please reach out to her today. I have her information up here. More Life. She's got web seminars coming up. She's got a book coming up. She's got tools on her website and an awesome opportunity for you to donate to some really worthy causes that she's doing for her birthday. She's giving back. And I love that. You've given me some ideas, actually, because as I told you earlier, mine is right behind you.
Absolutely.
Give me some great ideas there, and I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Kevette, thank you again. Now, I also want to let our audience know we're going over to Leveling Up the Podcast with Alethea Tucker. So jump over there with us and listen to some more of what Kevette has to say. We've got, this is Domestic Awareness, Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And Kevette has an awesome, awesome, powerful story, a powerful journey story that she has to share with us. So come on over there and listen to some more of what we have to say. She's got some more gems and some more to pour into us. And I know you will benefit from it.
And I want
All
to thank
right.
you so much, Miss Alethea. Let me tell y'all, you
Yes.
don't know this lady. If you're seeing this podcast or broadcast for the first time, connect with her. Connect with her. She's
Oh,
amazing.
thank
She pulled
you.
together a group of women in order to write a book, my first, allowed me the opportunity to become a co-author. Which really gave me one of the boosts that I needed in my career and in my confidence to go forward. She is absolutely phenomenal, and she's going to be doing a lot of amazing things. So make sure you're following her as well. Don't sleep on it.
Oh, I just love you, and you know that. Yes, let me tell you, she is behind the book, the movement. She is one of us, one of 15 of us who
Yeah,
work
15 of
this
us
project.
reinventing to rise. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. And let me tell you, all of the women who have been a part of this have done just that. They are
Yeah.
poster women for reinventing and rising. And, the story does not end there, as you can see with Kevette. And, we just know in our hearts that more of us can get out there and do the things that we want to do if we take that leap and know that we can reinvent. So I love you, Kevette. Thank you so much. We have formed a bond. The women who worked on this book, we have formed a bond together, and we really supported one another. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I just want to say thanks again to my audience for being here today. I greatly appreciate you. Go and find out all that Kevette has to offer to you. Her website is still up here. And remember, it is never too late to reinvent and rise. Go out today and be authentically you, boldly you, knowing that your imprint is needed. And your imprint can only be given by you. All right. Have a great one.